The logic of the sessions is as follows. We started with Bob Shireman and an argument about the need for degrees and other high-value credentials for the benefit of the economy, for the benefit of the society, for the benefit of the individual. We went on from there to talk about costs and cost control, and we stole some of the time from the Stambaugh Boyum portion of this program in order to let King and Jane do what they did, and I know that you'll agree that that was a good call. Also, I'm going to rely then on what's in your folder and just let you see there what we did. What we did was to do an internet-based survey of business leaders in Orange County, and the arguments from there are of interest. What you get with an internet-based survey is not a sample that can be regarded as representative of some defined larger universe. Instead, we're looking for context. There's a more qualitative aspect to this kind of research, and I have in fact combined it in a brief way with some words from the Committee on Economic Development and Public Agenda that have recently done some focus groups with business leaders. Business leaders are interesting. They are going to be a critical portion of any coalition that would be consequential for gaining more priority and more support for higher education, if that in fact was going to happen. So it's interesting to see what they have to say about all of this. And the first thing that we discover is that business leaders, like California residents in general, think that we should use our resources more wisely than we're doing now. I'm not surprised at that. Business leaders are in the business of controlling costs and creating value in a low-cost environment. They, more than ordinary residents, want us to take a dollar and make it holler in Jack Benny style fashion, make the dollar work harder, go farther, and be more frugal. Here's a quote. What does it really cost to teach 4 or 5 classes to kids in a school? You don't need the Taj Mahal of gyms, and you don't need a swimming pool if nobody swims, right? We've got to have it. We've got to have it in the brochure. Let's take it out. What priority should be given to spending? Pretty good support here. Let's prioritize the spending for higher education. The business leaders in Orange County are ready to say. But when it comes to spending more money, they are less in favor of that. And here's the big one. Would you be willing to pay higher taxes for support of higher education in California? Ordinary residents of California, in a sample survey, said no. The business leaders said hell no. So the analysis in your packets goes on, and we asked some of the business leaders about some of the ideas about blowing up the boxes, being extremely innovative in approaches to higher education. And I think the best interpretation of what they had to say is, well, I don't know. And that's fair. Ordinary business leaders are not going to know much about that. Control your costs. Don't ask us for more money. And if you want to innovate, you can innovate. Go ahead. That's about what we heard from the business leaders. That's about the nature of the support that we get in the California public. And it's an important piece of the context for the symposium today. So to recap, Bob Shireman reminds us of the need for degrees and high-value credentials, reminds us that they have to be valid and, importantly, grounded in the right stuff. King and Jane remind us that cost control and spending priorities are a big part of this, and that we need to understand these costs and figure out where the dollars are going. And what we have just said is it is another piece of context, and that is, don't expect a lot of public support for increased spending, and certainly not for increased taxes in support of higher education. That's going to take us to Jeff Salingo, and that's going to take us to some of the afternoon sessions, which is, where do we go from here?